Keith Urban is on stage for his first show since Nicole Kidman filed for divorce.
The love story between Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban was supposed to be a fairy tale. 19 years, 2 daughters, and a marriage all of Hollywood quietly envied. And then, almost overnight, it was over. But this was no quiet, polite split. There was a love song with the wrong woman's name in it, whispers about someone much younger, and a divorce wrapped up at suspicious speed. So what really tore this golden couple apart? And why has Nicole stayed so strangely silent about the man she just divorced? Join us as we uncover the secrets behind one of Hollywood's most shocking goodbyes. The tell-all that never came. Let's get one thing straight right away. Nicole Kidman did not hold a press conference, write a tear-soaked essay, or go on a podcast to spill 19 years of secrets. When her marriage to Keith Urban fell apart, the most powerful thing she did was keep her mouth shut, which, in celebrity terms, is basically a magic trick. And honestly, in a town where people announce their breakups with matching statements, and a publicist on speed dial saying nothing at all is practically a power move. Nicole did not just take the high road. She built a brand new highway and refused to give anyone directions. And the internet was furious about it, in the best way. People wanted blood. They wanted names, receipts, and a dramatic interview where Nicole finally let Keith have it. Instead, she talked about her daughters, her work, and being grateful for her family. She also revealed that she is always moving toward what is good, and that she keeps everything else private out of respect. Her marriage had just completely imploded in front of the entire world. Rumors were everywhere, and her response was to take the high road. It was just a calm person, flat out refusing to give the internet the total train wreck it was desperate to see. But here is the twist, and it is a good one. By staying silent, Nicole did not protect Keith. She accidentally did the opposite. Because when one person refuses to throw any dirt, every single piece of dirt that surfaces gets attributed to the other one. Her grace became a spotlight, and that spotlight was pointed directly at her ex-husband. There is a strange power in restraint. The more dignified one person stays, the harder everyone squints at the other one, wondering what exactly they are so quiet about. Nicole did not point a finger. She just stood still and let the contrast do the work. So if Nicole was not the one exposing Keith, then who was? The answer, as it turns out, was Keith himself, plus a rumor mill that absolutely refused to sleep. But to understand how it all came crashing down, we have to go back to the morning it all began, with a bouquet and a man on a doorstep. The fairy tale everyone believed. Once upon a time, this was the couple everyone used as an example when trying to prove that love could survive Hollywood. Nicole and Keith met in 2005, 2 Australians who somehow found each other in America. And the way Keith won her over sounds like something out of a movie he probably wishes he could rewrite now. The story goes that early in their romance, Keith showed up at Nicole's door at 5 in the morning holding a bouquet of gardenias. That is either deeply romantic or mildly unhinged, but either way, it worked. They got married in 2006 in Sydney.
The Aussie power couple tied the knot in a traditional Catholic ceremony at Sydney's Cardinal Soretti Chapel.
And the fairy tale was officially on. And for a long time, it really did look like a forever kind of thing. 2 famous people who somehow kept their relationship steady, while the world around them treated every marriage like a countdown clock. People genuinely rooted for them, which makes the ending sting that much more. And it was not all red carpets and award shows. Early in the marriage, Keith was struggling with substance overuse, and Nicole reportedly staged an intervention that sent him to rehab. He got sober and stayed that way. Keith later credited Nicole as being integral to his recovery. even thanking her in a glowing tribute speech in 2024. So this was not a shallow celebrity pairing that fizzled in a year. This was 2 decades of real life with 2 daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, matching outfits at the Met Gala, and even sweet anniversary posts. Nicole once said that real love shows up not only when everything is going well, but also when things are going badly, and the people involved choose to work together anyway. Which is a beautiful thing to say, and also a deeply painful one to read now, knowing how the story ended. Because somewhere along the way, the working together stopped. And one half of this couple, by most accounts, quietly stopped showing up. By the summer of 2025, the fairy tale castle was already empty, and only one of them seemed to know it. The cracks nobody saw. Everything looked completely normal from the outside. The 2 of them walked the red carpet at the ACM Awards in May 2025 and then showed up at a soccer match together a month later. The photos were flawless, which is usually the first sign that everything is actually falling apart. The public image was the only thing left. That is the funniest part about famous couples. The last thing to die is always the photo op. That shiny public version that keeps smiling for the cameras long after the actual people have stopped talking to each other. The public saw a happy marriage, but in reality, they were already living in completely different houses. It is truly impressive how long celebrities can fake a smile just to avoid breaking a branding contract. True commitment to the grind. Because behind the scenes, the 2 of them had reportedly been living apart since the beginning of the summer. Keith had quietly moved out of the family home in Nashville and set up his own place. Nicole stayed with the girls. And in their inner circle, this was apparently not even a shock. According to sources, once Keith set up his own place, it felt like the writing was on the wall, and it felt the split was kind of inevitable. The official reason given later was the classic celebrity catch-all, irreconcilable differences, with a side of busy schedules. Keith was constantly on the road with his High and Alive world tour. Nicole was filming non-stop. 2 trains were running on different tracks, and eventually the tracks just stopped crossing. But here is the part that turned sympathy into something sharper. According to multiple reports, this split was one-sided. Sources said Nicole did not want it. She was, by several accounts, fighting to save the marriage right up until the end. One insider flatly said she did not want this and that she had been trying to hold it all together. So picture it. One person quietly building an exit. The other person is quietly trying to keep the whole thing standing. That is not a mutual, conscious uncoupling. That is one heartbreaking scene, while the other one packs a bag. And the public had not even seen the strangest clue yet. That clue would come on a concert stage in the middle of a love song, and it would set the entire internet on fire. The lyric that said too much. Now we get to the moment that did more damage than any interview could have. In late September 2025, just days before the world learned the marriage was over, Keith was on stage performing a song called The Fighter. And this was not just any song. This was a song he had written about Nicole, about being the man who protects her when things get hard. Except on this particular night, he changed the words. Instead of singing the line to his baby, the way the song was written, he sang it to his guitarist, a 25-year-old musician named Maggie Ball, who was on stage with him. He basically rewrote a love song about his wife to shout out another woman, live, in front of everyone. And look, plenty of artists tweak their lyrics on stage for fun. So on its own, it might have meant nothing. But context is everything. And the context here was a marriage hanging by a thread. Singing another woman's name into your wife's love song is the kind of timing that makes a publicist reach for the nearest stiff drink. And then it got worse, because Maggie posted the clip herself. She shared the video online with the caption, "Did he just say that?" and a pair of wide-eyed emojis, and the internet absolutely lost its mind. The timing was brutal. 4 days later, the separation was public. So fans did the math instantly. A song written for his wife was suddenly redirected to a younger bandmate right before the divorce news dropped. The comments were savage. One fan said it told everyone exactly what Keith was really about. Another simply wrote that Nicole deserved better. Keith, for his part, later told a crowd to stop reading things into his lyric changes, and he reportedly dropped the fighter from his set list entirely. Which is one way to handle it, but by then, the moment was already burned into the internet's memory, and the questions about that younger woman were only getting louder. So who was she really? And was she actually the reason the marriage ended? The answer is messier than the rumors. The other woman question. Things get messy right here, mostly because the internet completely botched the details. After that whole lyric stunt on stage, the rumor mill went into absolute overdrive. Everyone immediately tried to crown Maggie Baugh as the ultimate villain of the entire divorce. The actual evidence backing that up is practically non-existent. The internet loves finding a homewrecker to blame because accepting that a long marriage can just fizzle out quietly is not dramatic enough for the comment sections. Yes, reports were swirling. Sources floated the idea that Keith had taken up with a younger woman in the industry, and a Nashville source claimed it was all anyone in town was talking about. There were whispers, hints, and a lot of people connecting dots that may not have been connected at all. The internet is dangerously good at turning a person into a villain based on pure vibes. A flirty stage moment here, a younger woman there, and suddenly half the planet has decided exactly what happened, with zero proof and total confidence. But then came the denials, and they were loud. Maggie's friend, singer Alexandra Kay, flatly called the romance rumors absolutely not true, said Maggie already has a boyfriend, and insisted she has nothing to do with the breakup. The denial tour went way further than that. Maggie's own father ended up going to the press to shut the whole thing down with a blunt two-word statement. No, just no. Then the internet dug up an old interview in which Maggie explicitly stated that she has a strict rule against sleeping with or dating people in her own band. On top of that, a bunch of music journalists pointed out that Keith has been messing around with those exact lyrics on stage for years. He did the same thing with Carrie Underwood a while back, and literally nobody cared at the time. So the truth is this: there is no proof that Maggie was the reason. She was a young musician who got swept into a celebrity divorce storm she did not ask for. And she became the internet's favorite scapegoat because it made for a juicier story. It is a tale as old as celebrity gossip itself. When a beloved marriage ends, people desperately want a villain because a villain is easier to understand than the boring, heartbreaking truth that sometimes love just quietly runs its course. The real reason for the split was probably less scandalous and a lot sadder. Two people drifted, and only one tried to swim back. And that detail is what flipped this from a sad celebrity split into a proper drama. A mutual goodbye is forgettable. A one-sided one, where the person getting left was reportedly fighting to stay, is the kind of story that makes total strangers furious on somebody else's behalf. And while the world argued about who was to blame, the paperwork was already moving faster than anyone expected. The divorce done in record time. If you thought a 19-year marriage would take years to untangle in court, think again. This divorce moved at a speed that honestly raised a few eyebrows. On September 30th, 2025, just one day after the separation went public, Nicole filed in Nashville, citing those famous irreconcilable differences. And they were not messing around. The couple had apparently already worked out most of the details before she even filed, which is why the whole thing wrapped up shockingly fast. A Tennessee judge finalized the divorce on January 6, 2026, with both of them waiving spousal and child support and keeping their own assets, which strongly suggests a prenup was in play. The custody paperwork says everything. Nicole got primary custody. The girls are going to spend around 300 days a year with her, leaving Keith with whatever is left over. They are technically supposed to make the big decisions together, but the day-to-day life is completely on her. Look at the actual numbers there. This was not some messy, drawn-out court battle. This was just a mother stepping up to make sure her kids had a stable place to sleep while everything else was falling apart. Nothing screams healthy co-parenting, quite like giving one parent 80% of the workload, while the other gets the holiday weekends. Truly a beautifully balanced arrangement. And through all of it, the filings, the finalizing, the rumors, and the lyric drama, Nicole still refused to say a single bad word about the man she had just divorced. Which brings us right back to the real question. If she never attacked him, then how exactly did she end up exposing him so completely? The answer is the most Nicole Kidman thing imaginable. And it is the reason this whole story ends with her on top. How silence became the loudest statement. Here is the funniest part of how Nicole handled everything, whether intentional or pure luck. She never bothered getting down in the mud. While the leaked song lyrics went viral and rumors about the other woman were everywhere, she just went about her business and let the public guess the rest. Since people love a good villain story, everyone immediately filled in the blanks by feeling incredibly sorry for her and giving him the massive side-eye. It turns out the easiest way to win a public breakup is to literally do nothing and let the internet crowd build a narrative for you. Truly a masterclass in weaponized silence. Nicole spent her first Christmas after the breakup back in Australia with her kids. She posted a photo of the three of them and mentioned that she was looking forward to 2026. That was it. There was no massive paragraph explaining her feelings and no passive-aggressive shots at her ex. It was just a short caption, making it clear she was moving on with her life. Nothing says fresh start quite like posting a carefully curated photo to show a few million strangers exactly how unbothered someone is. There was no bitterness or drama. It was just a mother and her daughters watching fireworks and choosing to get on with life. Nicole did not have to say a single thing about Keith, because the picture said it all. She was hanging out with her kids, working and smiling on a balcony in Sydney. That does not look like someone who lost a breakup. It looks like someone has completely moved on, while the rest of the internet was still fighting in the comments section. It turns out the ultimate revenge against an ex is just ignoring them entirely while standing on a nice balcony. Truly devastating for the people hoping for a public meltdown. When she finally did speak about it, she gave the world almost nothing, and it was perfect. Nicole said that she is grateful for her family, keeping them as they are and moving forward, and that they are still a family. She talked about being a mother, a sister, an aunt, and a best friend. She talked about full witch mode for the Practical Magic sequel. She talked about a packed, exciting year ahead. She talked about literally everything except dragging her ex, and that absence was deafening. The less she said about Keith, the worse Keith looked. So no, Nicole never technically exposed Keith Urban. She did something far more commendable. She walked away with her dignity fully intact, let the facts speak for themselves, and let the whole world reach its own conclusions. In a divorce full of noise, the quietest person in the room ended up winning the entire argument. She never raised her voice once, and she still managed to drown him out completely. Do you think Keith changing the lyrics on stage was completely innocent? Or was it the moment the public accidentally saw the real cracks in the marriage? And do you believe Nicole stayed silent out of dignity? Or because she simply no longer cared to explain anything? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.